you all. So, before I get started, when I gave you guys my email address, I forgot, uh, as I kept trying to remember to repost my email, that there's a 7, it's Army for the Lord 7 at gmail.com, and I forgot to put the 7. So I'm sorry about that for anyone who has tried to email me and hasn't gotten a response. That's why, because I haven't gotten your email because I made that mistake. So I do apologize, and I will be posting my correct email address at the bottom. Army for the Lord 7. So the message that I wanted to talk about today is something I know that a lot of you guys already know, but I'm really hoping that people who are lukewarm or who think like this will view this upload, because a lot of people think like this. I'm gonna give you guys several examples of things that I've come across throughout my whole life. Even before I got saved, I saw this, but because I didn't have a relationship with the Lord, I didn't know that it was not right. But when you start to have that relationship with the Lord, you start to see things, you start to turn around and look at your life and be like, oh my goodness, I can't believe people think like that. But they do. So that's my purpose of this upload, is to really bring more light into this subject. And part of it is how people do not take God seriously. They really don't. And I'm talking about people even in the church. They do not take him at all. A lot of people that go to church, they think the only thing that's really required from them is just to be at church and do their 90 minutes at their service, whether it's a 9:30 or 11:30 service, do their time for the week and of being with God, and then that's it. And I'm telling you, a lot of people think that, and they don't think that they're lukewarm. Some of them realize it, because I'll talk to clients and they'll talk to me about that they're Christian, and I'll have them say that when they go to church they feel zero connection with God, and they're just there just to be there, just to be a bench warmer, and to say that hey, they were there with God and praying with everyone and listening to the pastor, but they don't have a connection with him, and so I have heard that from people saying that and you can tell, when you go to church, you can tell that it's just no life in there. When I got baptized at one of the churches, I could just tell there was no, it was just it's just no, nothing. You could just tell most of the people were there just to be there, just to say they went to church that week. So, and you know what? And I love listening to people's testimonies, and I've listened to a lot of ex-Satanist testimonies, and you know how Satan wants everyone that is a Satanist or whatever he has them under. You know how they always want to infiltrate the churches, and they'll astral project sometimes into the church, or sometimes they'll if they can't do it that way, then what they'll do is they'll have a body. They'll have that person, the Satanist, posing as a believer, but he still has his third eye. He can see spiritually. And I would hear a lot of testimonies of when they would see people, and they would say that a lot of people there at church that were thinking they were saved really weren't, because I'm just going based on what I think I remember he was saying, that there's a light, just something around you in the spiritual realm that can tell what your relationship is and isn't with the Lord. Those demons can see what your relationship is, okay? And he was saying that he was looking at the choir, and he said that most of them weren't even saved, and they're, singing to the Lord, and because they were all in sin. They were all in sin. So that, and I heard that from numerous ex-Satanist testimonies about a lot of people that go to church are not all saved. And that brings me into my next thing I wanted to tell you guys, that I also had a client one time. I think it's some talkers, and they do start talking to me, y'all. I have to tell you, they do. But I had this guy, and he was telling me that his buddy is committing adultery on his wife, and that he goes to church every Sunday and puts $100 in the tithing bowl. So I guess he believes that God is accepting payoffs now. So I didn't know that, but apparently there's people who do believe that. So I guess that's his way of making himself feel better about committing adultery by putting $100 instead of just changing his ways, repenting, and not committing adultery. So these are like the minds of people, you all. So and then, before I got saved, long time ago, I had horses, and I used to be at a ranch, and there was a lot of drug dealers at this ranch. It was a lot, and it was scary. They would shoot there. It was scary. One drug dealer shot the owner. He didn't die, but that's it. It was bad. There was a lot of drugs, and a lot of these guys went to church that were murderers and that were selling drugs, and they believed that all they had to do was just be at church on Sunday and they're cleansed and it's all good. And then they leave and they're off to selling that evening to somebody else, or killing, because there was a lot of violence in that area. And so it was scary. It was really scary. And that's what a lot of people were thinking. They thinking all they have to do is be at church. And there's a lot of times I talk to people and they're like, well, I go to church every Sunday. They say that. They're like, well, I go to church every Sunday. You're like, that in itself saves you. And it doesn't. And you've got to have that relationship with the Lord every day, not just in that little 90 minutes of church service. And then, I have a coworker, and she hasn't talked to me, but I listen to her. She says that she's about the Lord, and I hear her talking. I hear her talking to like another believer who also says she's of the Lord, and I'll hear her talk to her, and she'll say that she's been praying to God to have God tell her if this guy is cheating on her, because she's not married, but she's out there dating and being with people, and she said she's praying to have God to reveal if he's being unfaithful to her, unmarried. And God is not our private investigator, y'all, especially if we're living in sin. And this is what people think. And she's got like Jesus written on her neck. And I know that she has spirits. I know that she has a lot of spirits on her, and I do pray for her. She is on my prayer list. Because I'll have clients that come to me out of her massage, and they'll say that it gets a little scary because she's talking to someone while she's massaging. So I think that she's thinking, I don't know what she's thinking. I shouldn't assume. I don't know what she's thinking. She talks to people while she's massaging. Like she's talking to someone, not the client, but she's talking to something about their body. She's like saying, show me where something is on the body. I don't know. But anyway, I know it's not right. And I know that she has spirits on her. And one day, y'all, I was in the break room, and I was saying, Jesus is coming. And she's sitting at the table, and it's just me and her in the break room. And she's telling me, she says, why do you always talk about hellfire and talking about people going to hell? Y'all, all I did was sing, Jesus is coming. That was the only thing I said. And I never recall talking to anyone about hell at my job, especially my coworkers, knowing they could go and talk about me and get me in trouble. So I know a spirit had jumped into her and tried to debate me, but it didn't work. And it worked one time when she said something to me, because she said, you can't blaspheme the Holy Spirit or you won't inherit heaven. She said something. I couldn't sleep for 2 days after that, y'all. That was earlier in my walk. I could not, because all these thoughts of me having bad thoughts about that was in my mind, and I could not sleep, and I was crying, and I barely was making it through my session. So she got me on that one at first, because I was new, but then I studied and learned the word that I didn't do that. I didn't blaspheme, because she made me scared about that. But anyway, sorry, I know I'm a little off topic there, sorry. So also, and I also see people here on YouTube, and they have channels, and they have thousands and thousands of subs, and these are Christian followers, the Lord's followers, and I'll see how they'll have paranormal stuff on their channel, and then they'll make light of it and be like, well, I'll just go to church and just have Jesus cleanse me, and she's in Bible school, because I wrote and I talked to her. I told her, you can't take the Lord as a joke. I said, what you're doing is against the Lord. And I was giving her these passages. I was telling her that we cannot converse with the undead, which is the demons. And I talked to her in depth about that, because that's very dangerous. You can't do that. But she claimed to say that she was in Bible school and she passed all her tests. So anyway, you all, oh, and I wanted to say one more thing. There was another guy that I knew a long time ago, and I actually was really, really in love with him. But anyway, he was telling me he did not eat pork, and I knew that was related to the Bible. And so I don't know what he's like thinking, just because he doesn't eat pork, that's gonna save him, because he's doing everything, all the other sins, but he's not eating pork. And so we cannot pick and choose and negotiate with God of what sins we will do. Like, I won't eat pork, but I'm still gonna be doing all this, but I think I cannot eat pork. And I'm just trying to bring light to this is what people are thinking, y'all. And that's why we've got to stay diligent, and we've got to stay really on top of talking to everybody that we know, and it's including my family members, because the things that they believe is all over the place. One of my family members believes that when you die, whatever you were believing in, that's what you're going to see in heaven. If you believed in Buddha, then when you die, you'll see Buddha. And if you believe in Allah or Hindu, whatever you believe in, that's what you're going to see in heaven. And she's also the one that was on my one upload that I was talking to her about, the RIP upload I made. She's the same person. So her theology is all over the place. And you know what? I'm going to email her soon, and I'm going to talk to her about stuff like that because I want her to know that you can't think like that. Okay, so I wanted to end this with a passage real quick. This is Revelations 3:14, and the angel of the church of the Lycaonians, right? I'm sorry, y'all. I know I messed that up. Sorry. These things say the Amen, the faithful and the true witness, the beginning of the creation of God. I know your works, that you are neither cold nor hot. I could wish you were cold or hot. So then, because you are lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will vomit you out of my mouth. Because you say, I am rich, have become wealthy, and have need of nothing, and do not know that you are wretched, miserable, poor, blind, and naked. Before I close out here, you all, I also feel like a lot of believers, they only pray when they need something from the Lord. I feel like they never pray to be of service to the Lord, and that just really disappoints me. And I really hope that we reach a lot of people so that they can really take God seriously, because we all are going to be having to stand before his mighty throne. And I would hate to be one of those people that was only a bench warmer at church. I love you guys, and God bless.